I figured we can talk about the sides of the box. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that side, because basically what I want is I want it to wrap, the grain to wrap all the way around the box. And the way I'm going to do that is by taking this piece, which was an 8/4 piece, figuring out my front and my side. Right, it's still rough, obviously, because it's all just cut off of the saws, and then I resaw it in half. Right. Next step with these is going to be to plane them to get them down to final thickness. I don't think I'm too bowed. I'm a little bowed, but I think once I cut them to the lengths, it'll be fine. And basically, what happens is this inside is a book match piece. Right? So you can see kind of the grain swirl. So these become the outside. And so like if, let's say this was the front and then this was the side, you would see the continuous grain. And then the grain would sort of continue here, like this. Like this. Up. The grain will continue here and it'll come back down, and then this one should match up here. Yeah, that's kind of the idea of this, why I did it this way, but I'll come back once these are milled and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing. So after going back to the planer, I now have much thinner boards. They're still not that final 1 centimeter. They're about 12 millimeters right now. Figure I can, once I finish it, I'm going to hand plane it to final finish. You can see that was my triangle to show me which way they were on together. And there's the book match. Okay. Yeah, that's nice and smooth. Alright, so next, I like to do one of the edges, and then the other edge gets cut at the table saw. But let's see. We'll do this edge. So you can see the grain is kind of going that way. I'm not even sure you can see this, but see how the grain lines are kind of going up that way? So I want to plane with the grain, not against the grain. And this is fairly thin, so it should be just a couple of passes with this plane. Hardest thing about it is going to be to make sure the plane doesn't twist on me. See it skipped there a couple of times? That means there was a couple of low spots. Keep going until we get one continuous pass. One more probably. One more. There it is. See? Nice long shaving. Perfect. Okay, so with those planed, I'm going to now lay this out. This is my little diagram of the sizes. So my short size is 260. And I'm going to need to take off a little bit of there and a little bit of there. So I want to make sure I leave myself a little room there. But essentially I want to go from there to 260. It's right there. Alright, so from that point on, it'll be 375. And I'm going to leave myself a little bit. 375. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of room there. Alright, so I need to cut it there. Now, on this side, the cool way of doing this is if I cut this board at the same length here, right, this grain should continue. But now I need to go the opposite way. So now I need the short side. I'm going to do this easily. If I go like this, right, I can just mark where that short side is and it should work out. Okay. So now back. So there are my cuts. And this is just waste basically over here. I cut it a little too long. And we'll do that at the miter saw. Okay, so here at my miter saw, which is a mess, I'm going to just cut off those pieces at the spots we talked about, and then we'll go back to the bench. I could turn this over and get it all in one cut. Alright, so we'll set it up. Okay, ready? See you back at the bench. We have our 4 pieces. Let's get them back in order. So A, B, C, and D. Alright, so that's our 4 pieces. Okay. And how this works basically is you turn them over like this. Like this, and that'll be our box. Alright, and you should be able to see the grain runs pretty cool, and it looks like one continuous piece. Okay, so next is, now that we have these pretty much ready, it's time to cut them to width. And I'm going to get pretty close to final width, leaving only enough so that I can kind of plane down and make everything even at the end. My width is going to be, my final width wants to be 90 millimeters. Eye protection. Push stick. Alright, last one. Alright. Well, let's see. Next I'm going to plane the edges again. The table saw, even though it cuts really clean, still leaves machine marks, and just a couple of passes with my plane will clean that right up. Yeah, see, it only took a couple passes. That's ready. I mean, that's almost a finished piece. Still got to shoot the sides though, to clean those up. There we go. Really should be checking your work when you're planing edges like that, just to check that they're square. I have a tendency to plane square on the beginning part of it and a little off square when I'm finishing. I've never been able to figure out why I do it, but this was just so. This was. Looks like I did a good job this time, but yeah, sweet. Okay, so now we're going to get my shooting board out and shoot the sides to clean the edges up. Just clean the end grain a little bit, and to and then these pieces will be done. We'll just start joinery. All right. So the shooting board I keep under my bench. It's a pretty simple jig I made. Basically, it's a couple pieces of plywood, and then I added a track down here for the plane to ride on. So the plane sits here like this, and it rides on this track, and I can cut off square like that. There we go. The beauty about that is it squares everything right up, man. Leaves it perfect. Alright, so next, let's do the small ones and then we'll be ready. Just a few passes and it's ready. Basically, I just keep going until it takes a full shaving the whole way across, and that means it's square. You can check it up against the light. Wow. Nice and square on both sides.